Mm.
Hi Shiva Krishna.
Yes, hi sir.
Hi Saikal.
Hello, sir.
Okay. See, today's call is going to be a mock interview on AWS DevOps engineer with Shiva. So we are going to evaluate Shiva's profile, what way he is eligible for that role, what are the activities he can perform with the existing internship and proof of concept projects demos done with me. So he's going to explain it. So what you can do is you can share your Word document for the role which I shared to you. Let us go through the points, job description points. You can share the screen.
So is my screen is visible?
Yes, it is visible. Now what you can do, first you explain your background by showing your resume, what all you have done it. Then later you can go through the JD and map the points with your experience and exposure and the knowledge. What you gained, experiences what you gained from this internship.
Okay. So screen is visible, right?
Yes.
Okay. So basically, I started this internship 2 years ago as a part-time. So for the past, from the September, mid of the September, I started as giving the demos on the cloud basis, like AWS and Azure also. So you can see here in my profile, I have done various proof of concept based projects on the AWS cloud by using the various services, AWS services, and different like using a Docker and containers and Kubernetes service like EKS clusters, and also some of the proof of concepts based on the code pipeline, code repository, migration from the GitHub to the AWS cloud, and also some of the S3 operations. And for the automation tool, I have used the AWS Cloud Formation tool to set up the two-tier architecture. And moreover, some of this Lambda also by using the set up the EC2 instances. And these are my some of the POCs from the Azure also.
What are the automation tools you used so far on AWS to automate the infrastructure creation? Like infrastructure as a code, IAC is there, right? For IAC activity, what are the tools you used so far?
So for the automation, I have used basically Terraform and AWS Cloud Formation.
Did you use Boto 3?
Boto 3, I have little bit exposure on the Boto 3 with Lambda, but not
Are you going to work on Boto 3 further for the demos?
Yes, I am planning for the Boto 3 infrastructure creation.
Like two-tier architecture using WordPress or some other web-based applications. Okay, yes. So you have a plan of doing some more work on Boto 3. Okay, right. Yeah, go ahead.
So this is a few POCs from the Azure also by creating web page creation by using web app service, and also deploy one simple Java web page on the by using the web app service on the Azure cloud, and created one WordPress site one-tier architecture setup, and also working on the data storage services, blob storage, file storage.
Okay.
That one.
You worked with the file storage also in Azure, like S3, object storage, sharing.
Yes.
Sharing objects also, sharing files in Azure.
Yes, this is data storage and share to the other developers.
Okay.
And
Now go back to the JD, what I shared to you.
mm,
I want you to explain each line. What is your understanding? What is your experience? And where all you will fit in that topics or in that activities. Just I want a detailed information
mm,
from
mm,
you.
mm. Okay, this is basic for the AWS or DevOps engineer requirement. So we will see the job description one by one. The first one is installing and configure, automating and monitoring various cloud services. If you take the WordPress setup, which I have used in my proof of concept, basically, first of all, I am installing some Apache web server in the front end. And after that, I have configured the database in the backend itself and the two-tier architecture. And I have also automating this infrastructure by using the cloud Terraform. By using the Terraform, I have automated this two-tier architecture with WordPress. And the monitor is nothing but we can monitor this with the AWS service. We have one AWS service, that is Cloud-Watch. We can configure and monitor, integrate with various cloud services. So how the services are working. So
One
that
moment.
is
I have a question. In AWS, if you want to set up the WordPress site, there is infrastructure setup, there is WordPress code installation activity, and configuring the WordPress site is there, including database configuration. Then after that, you are going to test it. How these activities you have done it in Terraform or any automation tool, you can explain it.
so basically, first of all, we need to create a VPC. First, we need to create one network setup. So for that, in Terraform, we have the VPC setup is there. So first, we need to create one VPC with all the public subnet and private subnet to configure the database in the backend, and attached with the internet gateway and that NAT instance to the private subnets. So once we created the network setup on the VPC, then we need to create one install one EC2 web server first of all, in order to configure the WordPress site on the EC2 machine. Then once install the Apache web server, we can test that Apache web server is running or not on the EC2 machine. So once it is running, then we are going to create one database. We have the database script is available on the Terraform. So once we have created the database setup, then we are going to install the WordPress configuration files on the EC2 machine under the folder where www.index.html is file folder is there, and we need to set up these configuration files under this folder. So once the setup is completed, then we are going to run the commands, Terraform commands, so that infrastructure will be created on the AWS cloud.
Okay. Now go to second point. Can you explain what is your understanding?
Perform operational activities which include platform upgrades, server patching, monitoring, configuration, and troubleshooting. So basically, the perform operational activities like platform upgrades means if I want some dependency upgrade for my application, then I need to install the upgrades like commands is there, like some dependencies we need to install before application deployment. And also some of the server patching modules are also we need to install before application deployment. And you need to configure, if you want to configure this in the backend database, you need to configure the database activities on the EC2 machine. And the troubleshooting is nothing but if suppose suddenly my application is not working to the end users, then we need to verify where the issue is has gotten, and we need to resolve that particular issue, whether it is in the network issue or in any of the environment issue. We need to verify and we need to resolve that activity.
One question. You said in the first point, you configure the WordPress site with Terraform or manual process. Now, assume that you have used MySQL database as a backend database for WordPress post creation, blogs creation. Now, I want that site to be upgraded or configured for MariaDB. Is it possible in this activity?
Yes.
So, what are the steps you are going to use it? Let us say the site is running already in live. Now, how are you going to configure MariaDB, and how are you going to make that database in MariaDB?
Okay. So for that, so because we need to take the downtime, right? First of all. So before taking the downtime, we need to take the backup of the database. So once the data is setup is completed, then we need to install the MariaDB database on the EC2 machine.
So let us say you have used already RDS.
Okay.
Okay. Now you are supposed to use RDS only. In place of MySQL server, MariaDB server will be there. How are you going to do
that? So for that, we need to upgrade the version for the database on the EC2 machine.
You don't have EC2, right? You have RDS only. In RDS, you have created the MySQL database, and you use the blog site, and you configure the WordPress site for that RDS database. Here, you are supposed to use RDS only, and in place of MySQL, you will be using MariaDB. Now, you need to set up that environment, right? How are you going to?
We need to modify the configuration once again in order to set up this MariaDB site. And so for that, we need to again write the Terraform configuration file for the MariaDB server, and we need to update that infrastructure setup.
In the existing infrastructure, you are going to add the code snippet of the Terraform to add MariaDB as a database.
Configuration file.
Then what are the other steps? How to make the database available in MariaDB? You need to make the database available, right, in MariaDB, that MySQL database. So, is there any process like you are taken backup in earlier stage, right?
Yes.
Are you going to use it in MariaDB? How are you going to use it? What are the options?
We have some restore options are available to restore the database backup into this new MariaDB server.
Okay, you are restoring it into the MariaDB. Then after that, what are the configurations you need to do it in WordPress?
We need to take that password and the endpoint of the database. We need to configure on the WordPress site by using the username, password, and the database name. That need to be configured on the WordPress site before going to.
Okay. So it means you will be using the existing Terraform script. You will be updating the code snippet of the MariaDB database creation within the RDS, and after that you are going to restore the database into MariaDB. The backup which you took the MySQL. Is there any compatibility or incompatibility to MySQL database into MariaDB?
There is versions incompatibility is there.
Yes.
So
how are you going to check?
So for that, we need to say take the same version of the database version for that.
There are other options also, right? You can take an entire backup into CSV file also in RDS, right, for MySQL data. The same CSV, can you upload into this one, MariaDB also? Let us say you have some 1,000 records, some blocks are created. Now that 1,000 records, so you can take the backup in the CSV file. Taking into CSV file also is possible through RDS, right?
Yes, yes.
The format, output format. Then when you are restoring it, is it possible to restore the CSV file in MariaDB?
Yes, yes. We can restore that file.
Then you don't need to worry about the versioning of the MariaDB compatibility, all those things. Even if you have some other database like DynamoDB in place of MariaDB or MySQL, you can follow the same procedure, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Database backup taking into Excel sheet with CSV format, then you can restore that, right?
Yes.
Okay. Next point. On-call support, what does it mean? What is your understanding on the on-call support?
Okay, suppose if my application is went for live application, so the end users are accessing the application. So suddenly there is some issue which the application has get down. So in that case, we need to verify this issue on the production live environment, and we need to take the action to resolve that issue.
Okay. Next point.
Work closely with a team of architects, engineers, and developers to create functional design specifications and also AWS reference architectures, and assist with other project deliverables as needed, whenever as needed.
What is functional design in AWS?
So for our project requirement, we need some of the design specifications in order to create the infrastructure. Like,
can you explain with your WordPress site? You have worked with the proof of concepts with WordPress site, right? Can you explain what are you going to do there in that project?
So basically,
what are the design functional specifications?
So for the design specification on the WordPress, for that we need to create one EC2 server. So that server need to be that server also has some specification sizes and RAM also. We need to take according to our project requirement for the EC2 instance, and for the database so that is also we need to decide which database we need to configure in the backend itself. So that functional design specifications for the resources which we are going to deploy on the WordPress site.
Okay, what is reference architecture?
Reference architecture is nothing but a model which we can follow some of the architecture designs, and we need to take the best practices on the architecture by following some of the best practices while designing the architecture WordPress.
Okay, all the AWS services components will be showing on the architecture diagram.
Yes, that we need to analyze and configure that.
Okay, what is your understanding on the project deliverables for this kind of projects like WordPress site? You take it. Now there is a requirement. They wanted you to set up a WordPress site for production. What is your plan for that, and what are the deliverables you are going to do?
Okay, so in case of production live environment, basically the site should be highly available and fault tolerant activities should be done. So for that we need to take some project deliverables, means we need to add some high availability like AFS file sharing on the WordPress site. So for that, if one region get down, then automatically the other region will be available in order to access this application. Suppose if you take that
You're using load balancers?
Yes, yes, with the help of load balancer on the WordPress site setup.
Okay. So, are there any autoscale services you are going to implement in this architecture?
Yes, yes, that needs to be enabled and the configuring the configuration file and attached to the target EC2 instances. So if the suppose if any sale is coming, then definitely we need to enable the auto scaling feature because the application cannot handle the many requests as per our functional design.
I have one more question. Let us say now the same WordPress site setup is given to QA people. What they are supposed to do in this environment by using
So,
load balancer, autoscale, how to test them?
first of all, they need to test the how the load balancer is working, whether it is forwarding the traffic to the different instances by creating some user functionality test load. So they test that whether the users are going to take the load in between the load balancer and the target group EC2 instances.
Right, but being a one QA person, how he can apply all that load? Is he going to use any tool?
Yeah, like JMeter or any API data tool is there. We need to test with the help of that JMeter or any tool, testing tool.
Okay. Load testing tool. Okay.
Mhm.
Now, next point. Can you please read that?
Work closely with the application and network and security teams to ensure requirements are reflected appropriately in the AWS design.
Now, why do you need all these teams?
Sir?
Why do you need all these teams coordination for your work? Why do we need application team, network team, security teams? Because you are the admin, AWS admin and DevOps admin also. Example, I'm saying. What way they are useful?
Because if we are going to set up on infrastructure, so including that these teams are should be included in this design of the infrastructure basically, like a network team and a security team and also the development application team also. So we need to coordinate with these teams basically in order to take the proper requirements from these teams, network and security, in order to configure the traffic and also from the application team we are going to communicate and we need to take the requirements properly to design an AWS infrastructure.
Okay, next one.
Configure, manage and maintain the deployment and operations by using this AWS, EC2, VPC and S3, Kubernetes, CloudFormation and Elasticsearch services.
What is your understanding on these components?
So
and
configuring and
managing, what are the activities?
So for the deployment operations, we are using these services, AWS services, Kubernetes and CloudFormation for the automation tool. So basically, we are creating the EKS clusters with the help of Terraform and also the CloudFormation, and we can configure that YAML files creating, and we are going to deploy the applications on the Kubernetes cluster with the help of the CloudFormation automation.
I have one question. Now you created WordPress site using non-Kubernetes or non-container services in a traditional method. Now, when it comes to the containers and deploying on EKS, what are the activities you are going to take up? Let us say the requirement is you configure the WordPress site on EKS. That's all. That is the requirement given by your manager. Then how are you going to do that? What are the design steps?
Okay. So for that, first of all, we need to create the pods in the form of pods. We need to create the WordPress site for the deployment purpose. We need to create pods for the WordPress site. So once we created the pods, then we are going to create one application file for configuration. Then that file need to be configured the WordPress setup. So once we have configured the YAML file, then we are going to deploy the application by using the application YAML file. And also we are going to create the one service like node port service or any service. By using this node port service, we are accessing this WordPress application. So for that, we are also need to create the one node port service YAML file. And finally, we are going to deploy this application into the containers on the EKS cluster.
Okay. And now next point.
Strong track record to configure and support continuous integration and application deployment into Docker containers.
What is your understanding on that?
So track record to configure and support continuous integration with application. Okay. So suppose if my application is ready to integrate with the for the continuous integration and also deploy into the Docker containers. So first of all, we need to integrate with the Jenkins tool. Once that code, whatever the code is built and integrate with the continuous integration, and once the test is completed, then we are going to deploy this var or jar file into this Docker containers. So we are going to, in the Docker containers, we are going to create the image for the application. And we are going to create the image, and also first of all we are going to create one containers, and also from the containers we are going to create one image for that application. So once the image is created, then we are going to deploy that image into the particular like in the AWS we have one option ECR repository. So there we need to store this application image, and also we can store this image on the Docker Hub store also is available.
Now let us say your WordPress site, they asked you to set up in ECS. So what are the design steps you are going to write it and present to your technical leads?
So once the image WordPress image is available on the ECR repository.
No, I want you to explain from the beginning, like your proof of concept design steps, from the beginning to the blog creation. What are the steps involved in that?
So basically, we are going to install this WordPress application on the EC2 machine by configuring the front end as a web server and installing the WP config files on the var www.html file on the EC2 machine. So once the application is ready, and we are going to create the container for this WordPress. So once we created the container for this, from the container we are going to create the image for the WordPress setup. Docker create image. So once we have created this image, then we need to deploy this image into the ECS cluster by configuring the task definition that file on the ECS cluster nodes with the help of by using any Terraform or CloudFormation.
Okay. Now let us say they have given a database which contains the blogs. Okay. That database server is going to restore in container related database server. Do you have RDS in ECS?
We have AWS Fargate service is available in the east.
What
So
it
that
does?
so basically that AWS Fargate is a ready application for the containers basically.
Right now, you said you configure the basic WordPress application in ECS. Now, I will give one database backup in Excel sheet. Assume that CSV file only. It doesn't matter whether I took from MariaDB or MySQL database backup. Okay. Now I want you to set up that into the WordPress site. What are the steps?
So that file need to be set up on WordPress application.
Yes.
So for that we need to take that file into the S3 bucket basically. So from the S3 bucket we are going to import that application into the EC2 machine. So once the application is deployed to the EC2 machine, then after that we are going to deploy this file into the ECS containers by using the configuration file.
Okay. After that, are you going to do any smoke test for the blocks availability on the site?
So for that we need to test whether this file is blocks are available on the WordPress application. So for that we need to test this application testing like performance.
Okay. Next topic, next slide. You please move forward.
Provides day-to-day support of application and services, resolve functional and performance issues, work concurrently on multiple projects.
So what is your capability? What is your past experiences you can use in this area?
So I have used various services done on the AWS cloud. So if suppose my application get any issue, so for that we need to verify where the issue has gotten and whether it is in the code application issue or any infrastructure issue. So for that we need to resolve that particular issue or any, and we need to, so this is nothing but day-to-day support for the other teams also. So I can handle various projects if he has any issue for the applications.
I'll give an example here. There is a site running, e-commerce site. They had load balancers, auto-scale set up on multiple regions. Okay. Now, I got the URL. I'm accessing it. While accessing it, the web browser is not responding. Responding means there is no display coming and there is nothing appearing on the screen.
Okay.
What could be the issue?
So for the application is not enabled, we have some various possible issues. Whether it is a port security port issue. Maybe we don't have enabled the, suppose if we have the WordPress setup, we need to enable the database MySQL database port name need to be enabled on the EC2 servers.
Okay.
So that is also one of the issue, and also we need to configure various in the, like if you have any EKS or ECS clusters, so for that we need to enable the we need to verify that ports, whether the ports are running properly or not. So if any ports
it is a Kubernetes related thing.
Yes.
Okay. Right. Now, next point. What is the next point you can explain?
Be a part of the DevOps team to create practical solutions in an agile environment.
Okay. Here, with DevOps engineering live, many project managers complain
Hmm.
the DevOps engineer really they don't understand the agile process, sprint cycles, Scrum
Hmm.
process, all those things. So, what is
Okay.
your understanding? What is agile? What is sprint? What is Scrum team? All those things. Can you explain it?
So basically, when we have the requirement initially, uh, there is one sprint. It is nothing but 2 to 4 weeks of time. We need to design and implement that particular requirement. So as a DevOps engineer, we need to explain to the other teams also, like a developers team and the various manager team, in order to design and configure this application environment. So basically, if the developers are doing the coding to design this application, so this like in agile process, we have following the various teams, so in order to coordinate with other teams as a DevOps engineer. So DevOps engineer will communicate with the developers to take the code into this integration purpose, and for the testing, it will communicate with this testing team, whether so once they are going to test this application, they need to certify this application is working fine. So once the DevOps engineers teams get the clarity from this testing team, then they will going to deploy this application into the servers. Queries.
Okay. What are the best practices in DevOps you found it to work with developers, QA team, users, deployments, all those things? What are the thumb rules you need to use?
So for the best practices, we need to configure this the code application into the various small environments, small pieces.
Hmm.
We need to test the modules also. Each module we need to test and verify. Once the each module is working fine, but then only we need to deploy these modules into the various environments.
Okay. Okay. Now, next one.
Ownership and support of configuration management and deployment automation tools on AWS.
Hmm.
So it says similarly, it looks like we need to support if the application got any problem for the end users. We need to For that we need to monitor the application by using the CloudWatch or any other tool or Nagios.
Hmm.
For the management and deployment, we are using these automation tools like Terraform or AWS CloudFormation to deploy
Hmm.
the applications into various environments like testing and UAT and production environments.
Now,
And
let us
finally,
say this
hmm,
particular environment has got Ansible tool implemented 5 years, 6 years back.
okay.
Because Terraform is popular since 4 years only. Okay. Before that, there was Ansible. Before that, there was Chef and Puppet tools were there, but these people are using Ansible scripts only in YAML. So they say, are you going to implement Terraform on Boto 3? Is it possible for you to redesign into Terraform and Boto 3, the Ansible scripts? Can you do that?
So basically, the infrastructure is built on the Ansible by using Ansible.
Yes,
So now
yes,
we need to convert that infrastructure with the help of this automation like Terraform.
yes. They want you to implement Terraform process, IAC process.
Yes, it is possible because both are using for the creation of infrastructure. So it is possible to create the infrastructure from the Ansible to the using this Terraform tool.
Okay. Did you do any project proof of concept like converting Ansible to Terraform or Terraform scripts to Ansible?
Not yet look at into that particular issue.
You have pipeline plans for doing that kind of conversions also?
Yes, I need to work on that.
Okay. Next, to move forward to other things.
Ownership and support of monitoring tools for AWS services.
What kind of monitoring tools can be implemented on AWS?
Basically, we are using the CloudWatch in order to monitor the AWS services by configuring this CloudWatch.
Okay. External tools?
External tools like Prometheus and Nagios are also used to monitor. Yes.
But you will be able to implement them, right?
Yes, I will work on that. I will implement.
Okay. Next one.
Ownership and support of containerized software deployments on AWS cloud.
Okay. My question is, what is the containerized software deployment? Means what all it contains?
So the application like containerized means it has all the required dependencies and packages which need to be installed in one package. So that need to be deployed onto the AWS cloud. Suppose if I have Java application, first of all we need to package that application by using the Docker containerization tool. So once we have created that containerized Java application by using some of the installed Java packages and required dependencies on that. So once that is ready, so we are going to deploy that application into the servers.
I have a question here. Now let us say you have given demos on proof of concepts using your PHP application and also WordPress site. Now these two projects need MySQL image, right?
Yes.
Now let us say you have created the ECR. That ECR images can be reused by any other project deployments. Is it possible?
Yes, we can reuse that images for the other deployments also.
It means you have used it for WordPress site. That image is lying on ECR registry, Elastic Container Registry. That image can be pulled for your deployment of, on PHP application also?
Yes.
Okay. Now, are you aware of ITIL?
So
you are not aware of that, right?
Yes, ITIL, I don't know.
Yes, I have discussed on different sessions with Mr. Venkat Gandhi. Please look into those videos. In the interviews, they will ask, the purpose of ITIL is to implement the change request process. Are you aware of change request process?
Not sure.
No, change request process means like WordPress site is there. You need to update something in the front end. Or your PHP application is there. You have you have not written the menu applications, but each one has got crude operations. Each program has got create, read, update, data, delete kind of options. Those need to be integrated into menu-driven application. Then that is a change request. The change request, how to handle, what are the process steps need to be followed. ITL is going to guideline. Those guidelines, you should be aware of that while working with the DevOps projects. So I have discussed the process steps with Venkat. There are videos on my Facebook page. You please look into that in the next interview for the next interview purpose. Okay.
Yes, sure.
Right. Well, Shiv Krishna, I think you explained well many of them. What is the percentage of eligibility you are thinking for this role with this job description activities?
So I can
Your
say
self-assessment. I am asking your self-assessment.
yes, yes. So I can say confidently for this AWS DevOps engineer requirement, almost 80% of the requirement I know about this creating and configuring
So you are
the.
eligible for 80% of this job description.
Yes, yes.
Yes, in many roles, people are available with real skills, 30 to 40% only across globe. I'm saying. So you have done very well practice in your internship. That denotes your confidence level. Right. I'm going to stop. Thanks for time.